Let's discuss the second commandment according to the oldest, that is the Jewish enumeration of the Ten Commandments.
Even though it's no more accurate or inaccurate than any other version of the Ten Commandments or any rules of any religion.
In Christian tradition, it's the first commandment. The most common translation begins, "You shall have no other gods before me." The commandment then goes on to prohibit both making idols and worshiping idols. Most people, when they think of this commandment, understandably think that it only prohibits the worship of idols and the worship of gods, such as the ancient pagan gods of rain, of fertility.
I love how every god you mention came before your god. Just saying.
All the other nature gods, and chief gods such as the Roman Jupiter and the Greek Zeus. However, there is a major problem with this understanding of the commandment. Since no one today worships these gods,
the number of pagans in the United States alone, and this is a conservative estimate, is about 1.2 million. Hellenism, while significantly lower, still has extremely high numbers. Buddhists have about 350 million. The Church of Satan has never given out an actual number. However, you can probably guess that is being pretty fucking high. The point I'm trying to get at with this is, you don't know what people believe, you don't know how many people believe what, and quite frankly, you don't give any information as to how many people believe what you say. Now you're following the Jewish version of the Bible. There's like, what, a few 100 million Jews at the most? There's a few billion Christians, dude.
Let alone worships idols made of stone, most people think that this commandment is irrelevant to modern life.
And all of the commandments are irrelevant to modern life. Religion is irrelevant to modern life. We don't need religion to be ethical or good people, as you so clearly claim since you hate your own species.
The irony, however, is that this commandment is not only relevant to modern life, it is in many ways the mother of all the other commandments. Why is it so relevant today? Because today we have as many false gods as the ancients did.
You know, I'll agree that we do overglorify a lot of stupid shit in our culture. However, that overglorification can't be fucking quantified with a false god. They're just not the same things. It can be a pretty decent metaphor since the two can mean something similar, but that doesn't mean that they are the same thing. I could also say the word sophist and it would mean a similar thing. It's a metaphor. You have no understanding of poetics.
And why is it the mother of all the other commandments? Because if we identify false gods and avoid worshiping them, we will eliminate one of the greatest barriers to a good world, false gods. So let's begin by defining a false god. The point of biblical monotheism
is nothing. If you look at that word, all it would really mean is a religion with one god stemming from the Bible.
Is that there is only one God, and that only this God, the creator of the universe, who demands that we keep these 10 commandments, is to be worshipped.
Why? That's all I have to ask is, why worship this one? Like, what makes him so special? Nothing. Nothing. He's not.
Why? First, because one God means one human race. Only if we all have the same creator or father, as it were, are we all brothers and sisters.
No, not really. See, even in biology, evolution has this concept of a common ancestor. So, yeah, we're still all technically related.
Second, having the same parent also means that no person or group is intrinsically more valuable than any other.
Yeah, so says the capitalist who's gone against egalitarianism.
And third, one God means one moral standard for all people. If God declares murder wrong, it is wrong for everyone.
Except for, God himself. Okay.
And you can't go to another God for another moral standard.
History has proved you so wrong on that, man.
When anything else is worshipped, bad things result.
I know, man. There should be a fucking return to the Dark Ages. That was the only moral time in history, man.
Not only things that can obviously lead to evil, such as the worship of power, or race, or money, or flag, but also things that are almost always seen as quite beautiful, such as art, or education, or even love.
Are you honestly about to try to prove to me that art, education, and love are bad things? Fucking get off my planet.
Yes, any of these often wonderful things, when worshipped, can lead to terrible results. Take art. Many of the cruelest humans in history loved beautiful music and art.
So did most of the best. What's your point? What, just because the fucking Stalin liked some piece of music, that therefore means that music can be evil? You're fucking retarded.
But as a music lover, I learned early in life the sad fact that great music can be used to inspire people to follow evil just as much as it can be used to inspire people to do good. The great Hollywood director Stanley Kubrick vividly made this point in his classic 1971 film, A Clockwork Orange.
Okay, 1. You do not have the right to mention Stanley Kubrick, you fucker. 2, and I know this might be hard to grasp, but you can't use art to prove why art is evil.
In it, men rape and murder, while classical music plays in the background.
I love how little you know about that movie. That was a commentary on the mental health system. The entire movie was. It was saying which of these is the bigger evil. And if you pay attention to the context of the film, the state is the bigger evil. You could look at the state as a metaphor for God. Also, Stanley Kubrick was an atheist. He disagrees with you.
Take education. We all recognize how important education can be, from preparing people to be able to find work,
Fuck off.
to understanding the world. But education in and of itself, divorced from the higher ends of God and goodness, can lead, and often has led, to great evil.
Scientific enlightenment, the fucking thing that you're using to record this video with. Fucking God, what is wrong with you? I could pull up so much shit right now, but would it even matter? What is wrong with you? Why are people like you allowed to live?
Many of the best educated people in Germany supported Hitler and the Nazis.
Because they weren't lied to and handed a carefully fucking formulated propaganda campaign. What is wrong with you? Also, Hitler was a Roman Catholic. Just thought I'd mention.
And almost all of the Western world supporters of the genocidal regimes of Stalin in the Soviet Union and Mao in China were highly educated.
Just please die already.
There is nothing about a PhD that guarantees a person will be wiser, kinder, or more ethical.
Technically, you're right. However, you forget this one little factoid. You weren't talking about PhDs, you were talking about education itself as a process. And if we look at it statistically speaking, crime rates are higher in less educated areas of not only the United States, but the fucking world. Gee, I wonder why that could be.
Than someone with only a high school education. The same holds true even of love. Love, of course, is so often beautiful, but it too can lead to evil. In the 20th century, people who put love of country above love of God and goodness often committed terrible evil.
What? Number 1, God is evil. God is not good. Number 2, I'm gonna make this very fucking clear. In fact, all of those fucking people you're talking about were crazy, evil assholes without empathy, kinda like you. Fucking idiot.
And here's a test for you. Imagine that the pet you love and a stranger, a person you don't know and therefore could not possibly love,
Because human empathy doesn't exist!
are drowning. Do you first try to save your pet or the stranger?
Both, okay? Both. At the same time. I grab the guy by one arm, wrap my arm around his, and then I grab my dog, wrap him in my other arm, and fucking backpedal my way back to the fucking beach or whatever. That's what I do, because I'm fucking sane and actually care for other people and animals. This is the most disingenuous fucking question I've ever seen.
Well, if love is an end in itself, you save your pet. But if you hold human life as a higher value
If we are all God's creations and we are all equal creations, then why would God only want us to save one and not both?
than love, you won't follow love. This commandment made the ethical revolution of the Bible and of the Ten Commandments, what is known as ethical monotheism, possible.
And look where that got us, the Dark Ages.
Worship the God of the Ten Commandments, and you will make a good world. Worship a false God, no matter how noble sounding.
Why is it that all of the societies you've mentioned until now, with all of these different theologies, why is it that they fucking lasted so long? I'm just outright asking you, because in terms of modern society, we really have lasted about the same time as them. What's the fucking, like, I don't get it.
And you will end up with a world of cruelty. I'm Dennis Prager.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I was just eating mom's spaghetti.